Hey, this is Andrea.
And this is Amanda.
And you're listening to
Girls Nerd Out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to anyone new and welcome back to our amazing, faithful listeners. It is I, the Southern Mother of Dragons, also known as Amanda, and I am here with my best friend, the Princess of Dragonstone, who is also known as Andrea.
Hello.
Okay, so we're here to talk to you about the very epic, action-packed finale of Dune Prophecy that was called The High-Handed Enemy. Now, that title actually confused me for the majority of the episode. I get it now, but I was kind of like, what? And then I got it. What did you think?
I don't really even understand what it means, so I didn't really get it. But I do like the title. I didn't really understand it.
Well, I just thought it meant the big bad is the high-handed enemy, I guess.
So, okay. That makes sense.
We'll just go with that. Yeah. We'll just go with that one. Okay, so this was an intense episode. There was no downtime, basically. And it was about an hour and a half, I think?
Yeah. About an hour and a half.
Yeah, and it could have been split into 2 episodes, which is what Andrea just said when we were on the phone, and she's correct. It could have been. Most of the reviews say tremendous story, tremendous acting, CGI, great, all of it. Costuming, all of it good. It was just so much to squeeze into one episode. I mean, thank God it was an hour and a half, but we've said this about a lot of shows. Give us more episodes. I mean, we'll watch. We'd be happy to. So maybe season 2 will have more than 6. I hope.
Well, I haven't seen anybody talk about that yet, but I did see, because Ryan Condal, who does House of the Dragon, when he announced that they're going to start filming House of the Dragon in the first quarter, somebody said, can he convince them to give them more episodes? I'm like, I doubt it.
Nah, because he had no control over HBO shaving off 2 episodes of season 2. So if he couldn't prevent that, then he can't. HBO's bleeding money. They don't have it.
Well, that's going to be very interesting when they create the new Harry Potter show, because it's going to cost a lot of money to make, for one thing, and two, because this has to be really good. And I have a feeling it's not going to be really good. So good luck.
Look, I'm wondering if these other shows are suffering because they're hoarding money for Harry Potter. I don't know. But the thing is, it's like they're doing with the shows, they're doing quantity over quality. It's like, let's put these shows out, but we're only going to do 6 episodes. All right, why don't you just slow your roll, focus on one at a time, and do 8 to 10 episodes and do it right? Like, I don't know. They've been making strange choices for a while, and I'll be honest with you, I agree about the Harry Potter show. I don't have a great feeling about it. I don't
think a lot of the fandom does, to be honest, especially with who they picked for. Was it Snape? A lot of people are hating on him right now. So, and I don't want people to hate on the actors. We're going through with that with House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones. Like, can we just not hate on the actors?
No, they need to leave the actor alone. But, like, I will say this. And this statement has nothing to do with race. But it's hard to say this statement and it not come across like that's bothering you. It's not race. It is, I don't know why there's a trend right now, like, that a character is described in great detail in a book and they cast the exact opposite on purpose. That's frustrating. Very much. Because if like the way the character looks plays a part in who they are, you know what I mean? Like, Snape's Yeah, he gets bullied, so he looks a certain way. Exactly. You're the first person I know that brought that up, actually.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go into a tangent, but yeah, I just he gets bullied for this, so
I
it is.
just, it's just strange choices, and I'm not really sure why it's like that. But we can end this little tangent on this. What they did with the Valerians, that worked out. That was fine. See, you can do that. But
Yes.
but when it's a specific character and it just makes it like you're just really kind of saying like here's a middle finger to the hardcore fans, like come on man. Adam Driver, sorry.
Yes.
I will never get over that. Okay. And if anybody wants to know, Andrea and I are mad that Adam Driver's not Snape, and it's fine.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. We are about to talk about an episode where what Andrea said previously about Valya and all her plans are going to shit. Yeah. Yeah, they are. And more so than we even thought, actually.
You know, even though her plans are going to shit, she does come up with plans really fast. Like the plan that she had in this whole episode, it made sense and it could have worked, but I kind of saw it failing, to be honest. I mean, I was like, Francesca's not going to want to do what you're telling her to do. There's no way.
Yeah, and things that she didn't expect to happen occur, and she course corrects real fast. You're right, and comes up with stuff. But I guess we'll get to it towards the end. But like, she's got stuff going on that she doesn't even know about at this
I think
point.
she's really smart.
Oh
I
hell
think she's
yeah!
really smart.
Oh no doubt, she's smart as hell. So is Tula. It
Yes.
it's just different personalities. Well, I don't know, somewhat. All right, so basically, at this point, Lila is just Mother Dorotea. That's just who she is. And it doesn't look like it's going to shift anytime soon. I guess Dorotea's anger at being murdered has got her strong enough that she can just, stay in the front, I guess.
Hey, my question is, has she always been Mother Dorotea? Because before we thought she was Raquella, but I have a feeling she's always been Dorotea.
Oh, I'd never even thought about that.
The only reason why I say that is because when she asks all the sisters where Valya Harkonnen is, the way that she says Valya Harkonnen is it's out of hate. And I don't blame her. I honestly don't. But when she woke up and we thought she was, Lila, she wasn't Lila. We all thought she was, Raquella, but the way that Raquella said Valya is the same way that she said it in this episode. So I have a feeling she's always been Dorotea, but I could be wrong.
That would actually be really cool if that's true.
Yeah.
Because that would mean Dorotea's spirit is really strong.
And very upset.
Hell yeah, she was murdered. Every right to be. So we have Dorotea, and she wants revenge. I know it's said later, but Andrea, do you mind just saying now what Dorotea and her followers were? Because I think that should have been explained earlier in the episode, because I think it gives clarity to a lot of scenes later.
Oh, the Butlerians?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're a religious cult. If you look it up, for anyone listening, it's really fascinating. I want to get more into it, to be honest. But so Kesha's family was murdered by Butlerians, and I was like, what the heck is that? I mean, we both were. And, so it's a religious anti-technology group that they called a cult founded by, Raina Butler. So I guess that's where they get the Butlerians from. And they violently destroyed machines and conscious robots, which really made me sad.
Yeah.
Because the robots know that they're alive and that they exist, so they have feelings, in my opinion.
Oh
But
yeah. That's look, that breaks my heart. That goes back to that AI movie, and I can't even talk about it. Mm-mm.
oh God, yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 Well, I think we should have got a little information on that because, like I said, it gives a lot of clarity. Like you and I were talking about on the phone, we thought the sisterhood was just divided into one part, which is Valya's part, that wants to push for political influence and, plotting and all that. And the other part wants to just focus on the sisterhood and, the things that they can do and learn and all that. No, it's actually divided into Valya and political, playing space Game of Thrones, and then the other side is a cult of anti-technology. So that's something that it's just like a little brief little thing, but it gives a whole lot of insight further into the episode. So I'm glad you looked that up, and that's
Well,
super interesting.
and when Dorotea was alive, and after Rakella died, she wanted to go down there and destroy the abomination down
Mm-hmm.
there, which is the thinking machines. So the fact that she said the word abomination, it says a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's their Satan, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or, or the stranger.
Yes.
Sorry. Sorry, Game of Thrones reference. Okay. So we knew that Javicco was weak. Whew. He finds out that he is weak. That he's weak as hell. I actually kind of felt bad for the dude. A little bit. I don't know. Did you feel bad for him or not?
I felt bad for him in this episode a lot. Yes.
He really didn't have any idea. All right, so everything's a shit show for him right now. He doesn't know which way to turn. Like, he aligned himself with Desmond. Thing is, though, Desmond is aligned with Natalya. Natalya is not happy because Havoc's got his side piece just there. And Desmond and Natalya are just plotting. And they're plotting. It ends up being very strange because actually Nez gets arrested, which
I was
that
shocked
actually,
by that.
yes, thank you. Thank you. That was really strange to me, really shocking, and I was not certain of the purpose, to be honest with you, because arresting her diminishes her power. And it just, like, if the princess has been arrested, then I mean, like, that's your heir. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, she calls her a lovesick fool because she's trying to, break out Kieran, which, like, I get Kieran was gonna, kill people, but he did stop. He did think about it, and it is what it is, Like, yes, she is obsessed and in love with him, but she was trying to save him, and you would think that since her mom knows how much she feels for this guy, that she would understand it. And she's like, I don't like when she says, you should have come to me sooner. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah.
That's her daughter. You gave birth to this child. You raised her. Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand either. I actually thought that she was just going to have her confined to her quarters.
No, they put her in suspension. That's just the air. They put the air in suspension. That's like Cersei having, how they have those, I know this is another reference to Game of Thrones, good Lord. But, you know how when Tommen has, in the book, they don't talk about it in the show, but in the books, he's got like somebody that's there to, beat if he does something that she doesn't like.
A whipping boy.
A whipping boy. Well, that's like Tommen being whipped.
It's like putting him in. You know what I think? I think it's like putting Tommen in a sky cell.
That, yes, that's perfect too. Yes. Yes. Why the hell would you do that?
I
Like,
don't know. I
I
don't
didn't understand the
know.
motive behind that.
I don't understand the motive, but I also don't understand it because politically, you're weakening the public opinion of your heir.
Yep.
That's your heir. If you arrest the princess, everybody's going to think, well, why? And then, I mean, like the power's already unsteady. Natalya's going through some really weird shit. And I don't know if it's because she's not had power for so long and now she's just going all in, or maybe Desmond gave her some really good personal time. I don't know. But Nez's arrest was odd to me. Very odd.
I mean, they said it was because she was trying to break a traitor out, and even Javicco didn't believe that she would do that. And it's like, why wouldn't you believe that? Maybe because Javicco didn't really pay attention to his daughter and didn't know the kind of relationship her and Kieran had. But they already have animosity towards each other because Nez was the one that accused him of murdering Pruitt. So
Yep. I don't know. That was odd. Not really sure why, but okay, we'll go with it.
I just wanted to say this really quick. Okay, so she tells Natalya that father has lost his way, and I'm like, your mom is controlling the way.
Oh hell
And
yeah.
And I'm wondering at one point in his life, because he says something at the end of the episode that, I've never, like, I'm a person, well, he doesn't say it exactly like this, but he says, I'm someone that's never felt freedom. And I'm wondering if he's never, ever felt like he's made his own choices.
I would assume so. And never forget, Natalya, the main reason she's pissed is because he's got his girlfriend all up in the royal, quarters, I guess. I mean,
He did,
that's embarrassing as hell for her.
well, he called the marriage a sham.
Yep. So she is not happy about that whatsoever. So we have Tula. Tula's going through it. She had a baby, and that baby is Desmond, and that alone is a hell of a lot. We do find out something that I was very curious about. I wanted to know, does Tula know that Valya killed Dorotea? I've wanted to know that for several episodes. Well, guess what? We get a POV of Tula, and yes, she watched it. She saw it. And so that answered a lot of questions for me because I thought that would be something that might come out later and cause issues with them. Hell no. No. And you think Tula is going to say something against it because she runs off, but she actually runs off to throw up because she's pregnant. I was surprised by that too. Not that she's pregnant, but that's why she ran off. So,
Yeah, I thought that was, odd because, yes, before she even gets to the Sisterhood, she kills a bunch of people, so she's got no issue with killing people.
nope.
But the way that Valya killed Dorotea is disturbing. So it's,
Look,
she made her kill herself.
she
So
did. And we realized that Kasha and Francesca are OG Valya people because they were with Tula. They saw it too. So if you ever want to know the most devout, it's Francesca and Kasha, of course, after Tula.
what's interesting though, over time, it seems like Francesca, now she doesn't seem that loyal to her because of this episode.
I think it
So
was Javicco and having Constantine that changed her.
yeah, she definitely changed a lot.
Yeah, I think because when we see Francesca see a young Javicco later on, the thinking machine shows a picture. Francesca lingers on his picture. Did you notice that?
Yes.
So I think that was meant to tell us she already thought he was cute. And yeah, she had real feelings for him. which is really
she was
tragic.
She even sticks up for him. She's like, he's young, and
yep. and well, we'll get into that. Okay, now I do want to point this out because Andrea made a really good point. So Tula tells Valya she's pregnant, and Valya's like, "Oh, it's Orry Atreides," and she just kind of accepts it, and that's a bit weird. Talk about that, Andrea, because I was really surprised.
Yeah, well, because she wants to help raise their her child, because he's been seen in the thinking machine that he's going to have a prosperous future. He's going to have a lot of potential to do great things, which I'm like, okay, but he's an Atreides. You hate Atreides. I mean, you just had your sister kill a bunch of them. So it's like this son came from the family that she killed.
Yeah, and even before the thinking machine tells her that he's got all this potential, she still seems fine with him being an Atreides, which is so weird because Tula, like, she asked Tula if she was assaulted, because that's Valya's first thought is, he did this to you? And Tula quickly says, no, it wasn't like that. She shuts that down immediately. And I thought Valya was going to be like, you have an Atreides in your belly, and look disgusted and want the baby to be gone. No, she quickly says, we'll raise the baby together, which that might have been manipulation because she wanted Tula to quickly, get over the fact that she just witnessed her murdering, Dorotea. But I thought she hated Atreides so much that she would even hate a baby. That's what I thought.
That's what I thought too. And then even Kieran, I mean, we'll see later, but Kieran even acted like that too. Like, he was just like, I will never work for a Harkonnen, and I will never do anything for a Harkonnen. I hate them, but then he helps. I mean, he says he does it for Nez, but he's still helping Valya. So
I don't know. It's a bit of a head spin.
Yes.
Again, I feel like we're missing some backstory that we'll probably get later, 8 years when we get season 2. I feel like we need to know what happened in the war.
Yes.
It stems from that. I think it stems from that. But, we'll know 20 years from now. It's totally fine.
I mean, okay, so the whole thing started because Vorian Atreides became like the what is he, a war hero, right? And her grandfather supposedly was lied about, and so they're murdering people because of that. That really just sunk in on this episode. So they're murdering all these people because of that, and then they're murdering more people because she wants to be in control. It's just
okay. Don't be mad at me, but I have to. Do you know who Vorian Atreides is in the story?
Who?
Rhaegar.
Yes. Yes. Oh,
we don't know
terrible.
enough. We
terrible.
don't know, like, what he is trying to do. We don't know what side. We don't know what happened. And I'm sure there's a lot of opinions. So, Rhaegar Atreides. I'm sorry.
Rhaegar Atreides.
I'm so sorry. I had to. I couldn't help it because it's the mystery, but yet, like, so much depends on this person that we haven't seen. And look, if we see him, as long as he has a good wig, we'll be fine.
But did that sink in for you? Like, realizing how many people have died just because of that? Just because their grandfather might have possibly been lied about?
And I think, yes, it did. Yes. Only because of our last podcast when we had that realization that, like, Vorian Atreides is like a puppet master.
And well, not just that though. Also, Griffin was killed, but still, like,
and we still don't know why.
No.
See, I think obviously we're meant to think Vorian's this monster and he killed Griffin. Like, just was like, oh, I hate Harkonnens, I'm going to kill you. I don't think it's that simple. We'll eventually find out, and I think it's going to be surprising. I think what happened during the war is not what we think, and what happened with Griffin's death is not what we think. All right, so Valya knows that Tula's son's an Atreides, and he's going to be really important. Valya's already moving pieces on the chessboard. She's already saying, all right, the way to get Javicco under control is Kasha is going to be his truthsayer. And hey, by the way, Francesca, you're going to go imprint and keep him busy until Natalya's old enough to marry him. And I'm like, damn, okay.
Yep.
And she came up with that quick.
She did. The way that she talked about it, though, is just like, you're going to have sex with him. There you go. Have fun. And I'm like, okay. I mean, sexy time. Sure. Let's go.
Oh, no, she pimped her out. Now, we're kind of led to believe that she was okay with it. But still, she was like, you're going to be a truthsayer. I'm pimping you out. Next, we get some background of what happens after Dorotea's death. So we have Valya and her 3 loyal sisters, and they just walk up to the other sisters who are already freaked out just seeing them approach, because you hear one go, it's the Harkonnens. And it was shocking. So the 4 of them use the voice and force them to choose to either follow Valya as Mother Superior or not. And they all start killing themselves. All of them. Except for one.
Yeah, Philip. I was really shocked by it. I mean, I wasn't shocked, but it that was a hard thing to watch, because all these people are just dying because she's like using the voice and she's like, choose. And I was like, holy shit.
And all 4 of them have the voice now, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got Valya, Tula, Francesca, and Kasha. All 4 have the voice, and all 4 of them turn and, start saying choose. And every single one but Avila takes a knife out and slits their own throat, which is so creepy to see, but it also is creepy because each one of those women, each one made a choice of, I'd rather die than follow you.
That says a lot to me.
Hell yeah, it does. It sure does.
But then I'm so confused by Avila. I feel like we need, a point of view of her, just her, for one episode,
Yeah, it's so weird. Avila's the only one that chooses to stay. Well, you know what? I just had a thought. So Avila's the only one that chooses to follow Valya, and the one thing Valya says to her in this flashback is, no one ever needs to know about this. So I wonder if in season 2, Avila is going to play a part in telling some stuff that happened. I don't know.
Yeah. Because this can't be the only horrible thing that Valya has done.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure
it's definitely not. No.
The 30 years of planning, I'm sure a lot of things, all the puzzle pieces, I'm sure she's done a lot of underhanded things. So,
were you not kind of shocked? Like, all those sisters are dead now, and there's just the 4 of them, and you're like, wait a minute, like, where's the Sisterhood? And then you remember the beginning, and then you have just those few adults, and then everyone else is an acolyte. You're like, oh, that's why there's no sisters that are between the ages of those 4 and the acolytes. That's why there's not in between, because they're dead.
Yeah, I wrote Sisterhood above all is BS.
Sure is. It sure is.
Because it's either because this scene I was like, okay, it's either you follow what Valya says or you die. Like, that's just lovely.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's totally it. And even the ones that follow Valya, they're not afraid of her, but they follow her in a way that knows, like, you know what, this is probably not going to end up well for me, but I'm doing it. It's a bit nuts, but that's Valya. So, all right, we have Sister Nazir, and I had to look this up. She's a doctor because she talks about like having a background in medicine. Apparently, she's something called a Suk doctor.
Yep.
So she is analyzing the virus that's causing the nightmares. And so it kills its victims by enticing overwhelming fear. Like it feeds off fear, which is super creepy and a really cool. And they actually give us a visualization of the virus in a cool way that I really liked. They have, it looks like tanks set up, and the virus is like dark particles, and then like the DNA is white, and you see it battling back and forth because Tula says, you know what, I'll volunteer because they're going to try to do the same thing that they did with the other virus, which is control your own cells and have it fight it off, which is something we can't even imagine. But Nazir's like, you know what, with my medical experience, I'll do it. So we have this back and forth where Tula is watching, and Sister Nazir, we keep thinking that she's going to beat the virus, but she doesn't. Every time she beats it, it comes back like twice as hard. What did you think about that scene?
I liked it because the science part of it was really cool. I'm not a science person, but I really liked it. And then I kind of figured she was going to die, but it's like it's so crazy how fast the virus adapts to what you're trying to do.
Yes, that's a really good point. It did. Every time she pushed it back, it adapted and came back stronger. And
And
it was creepy.
it was creepy. And they did a very good job with the scene.
Yeah, she, like, Tula's watching it and, like, there's nothing she can do. And she's just starts asking questions like, who do you see? Who is it? And
It's not human.
yeah. And she says it's not human. And you're like, what? What?
Well, and then she says they're watching, and I'm like, who's watching? Who is
Yeah.
watching you? Who are they?
Yeah. It's like, okay, we know there's a sandworm involved. We get that. But who's watching and who are they and what is it? So that is haunting, but cool.
So Desmond has having his assassins, the Sardaukar, like the future of the Sardaukar. Wow, this is what the Sardaukar is probably going to be.
Yeah.
And he's having them smash him into the wall, which I felt it was kind of hard to watch that scene. I mean, I know it's not real, but it still was hard to see because I really like Karen. Anyway, so Desmond calls this a sham of a rebellion, which I thought was funny because I'm like, it's not. I mean, yes, now all their plans are going to crap, but it took 30 years for it to go to crap. So I wouldn't really call it a sham.
No, because it was an active rebellion for those 30 years.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume that these rebels have been rebelling for a while, not just, the Bene Gesserit. So
Yep.
I would assume even if it wasn't 30-year length for the rebellion, it still was a lot that they did. So, I mean, look at what Michaela said. She said, I've been building this for so many years. So,
yeah. Well, it kind of made me think of Star Wars, like, like the rebels, like they started off small and like some of them would just do like, little things, steal something, blow something up, like anything they could possibly do. I just kind of figured it was like that. Like they just, at the beginning probably did small things and then it, grows and grows.
Yeah, and he said it's interesting that an Atreides is doing a Harkonnen's dirty work, and Kieran gives this, which is true. But he didn't know that he was doing. He didn't know that. I don't think at the time. I mean, now he does. But Kieran tells him a story about his dad, and his dad basically, told him about a monster that lived with his family when he was a boy and killed everybody. So he clearly doesn't like the Harkonnens because of that. But I was vindicated in this because I was like, Space Oscar Tully is his father.
You were
That was the
right.
only living person that survived.
You were right. The
Yeah.
one that Tula lets, run. She tells him, go. Who is Oscar Tully in House of the Dragon? That is Kieran's dad. And what's so damn eerie about that story is that Kieran said his dad told him that bedtime story every night.
Yeah. So it kind of felt it's giving me Brackens and Blackwoods, like they fight for years and years over some small stuff,
Yeah. Can you imagine though having a kid? Like kid's like 2 years old. You're like, all right, get your teddy bear. It's time to go to sleep. All right, let me tell you the story. Okay, so we were all on this planet. We were going for a hunt, and then somebody killed everybody. Like every night. Like, damn.
Yeah. And I didn't mean to say that the murders was small. I just meant like in general, like his
No.
family's been fighting, like the Hatfields and the McCoys, like they've just been fighting forever.
No, that's true. I mean, hell, I mean, you could call the Harkonnen Atreides beef. I don't know, some sort of a dance with spice. I mean, it just keeps going.
Well,
The dance of sandworms.
it was just like it was just a dance with Sam. It was just a chilling scene, and it's not huge, but I really liked it.
Yeah, I did too. It's very telling. It was a good point to make because you just realize it's not any light beef, man. There is hate,
Well,
big time.
but he says, I may not like the Harkonnens, but I hate you, saying to Desmond, and everything your emperor stands for. And I said, you are so brave for saying that, because he could have just killed you right there.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of surprised he didn't. So, so Kieran's thing is, yeah, I don't like the Harkonnens, I don't like the Sisterhood, but you know what he's doing. He's basically speaking out for the small folk
Yep.
because the small folk don't get spies. And now that we understand things better, there's a whole nother layer to it because like it's needed for space travel and it's addictive. Obviously it can extend your life, but we learned with Space Bobby B, it's also medicine. So if you think about it that way, because he was using it with like a space inhaler, that's Kieran basically saying, screw your emperor and hoarding all the spice for the great houses because there are people, poor people, that can't access spice and it could save their life. Like now there's this whole other level that we didn't really even think of.
Yeah. See, and I agree with him I agree with the rebellion about, the great houses shouldn't be hoarding that, and they shouldn't be the ones in control of it either. I feel like a certain group should, and maybe just the Fremen should. Maybe it's just the Fremen that should be in control of it and nobody else. Like they get to decide who gets this much, because like with my whole thing about the Iron Throne controlling all the kingdoms, I don't think one person should just control all the 7 kingdoms. I think it should be individually, structured. That's it. So just like the spice, I don't think the emperor should control that.
I agree, because if you really want to dig deep and think about it, like this is something that's happened in human history with vaccines and medication. So basically you have the great houses that have all this access to spice so much that they can use it as an upper, as a drug. Okay, now think about this, Andrea. When we saw them doing lines of spice, okay, that line of spice could have been given to a family and that could have saved a child's life.
Yep. And that upset me, seeing those lines of spice, because it's like food,
Yes. Like the stuff that they're just playing with. it's not just a drug. It's not just used for travel. Like, it's medicine. It does lots of things. And so now it's like, okay, now I'm very much for the rebellion and whatever, because it just makes so much more sense now, because of that great acting and how passionate Kieran was in that scene. So he did
Oh,
great.
he did.
Dorotea just, she's not happy, and she is on a mission. Jen's following her around trying to stop her, and that's not really working. She goes and accesses some sort of file, and there's like chips inside of it or whatever, and you don't know what she's doing. And Jen's like, how do you know how to do that? And she goes over and she's like putting them in this machine. She's trying to find the other sisters, the ones that were loyal to her. And she finds out that they're all just erased. And at that point, I thought that that probably meant that they had left, and then Valya had probably sent like an assassin after them. But no, they were all just murdered, and that's why they were erased. They're all dead. So I guess Dorotea knows that, and so she gets even more angry because she knows all the people that supported her are dead.
Um. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so then she tells them that, what does she say? Something about like the sisterhood was built on blood.
Blood and roots.
There you go. That, and she gets something that's like a space hammer and
Yeah.
knocks the hell out of something. Then the pool that's been a focus many times, it drains and it's bones. It's a bunch of dead people. It's the dead sisters.
I want to say I think I think the cutoff for the awards, they can't add this show into awards this year, but next year I think this actress definitely needs to be like nominated, just because this was such a well acted scene from her. And I mean, it's sad. It's terrible what happened to her friends and her followers. I don't know if Dorotea's end up going to be awful, but I do feel bad for her. And a lot of people like to talk about what happened between, I'm not going to say it now, but between Francesca and Corina was the tragedy of the story. To me, this was the tragedy of the story.
I agree with you. I told you I like Lila when she was just Lila. The fact that Lila or the actress has been Lila, Dorotea, and Raquela, whether if she was or not, she's acting like, I mean, that's three different characters.
Yep.
You're right. If she doesn't get any kind of credit for that, I'll be pissed. Because she's young, and that is a lot of range to have to be that young.
Yeah, and I want to know what she's been in before this, and like I mean, maybe stage shows or something. I need to see,
Look it up.
But my thing is, I'm a huge romance fan. I love romance, but I felt like this was the tragic part of this episode.
I agree. I completely
finding all this
agree.
out.
Yep.
Not that I liked Valya 100%. I've always said that I don't have a side in this story, but I feel bad for people like that. I feel bad for the Atreides line that was killed. I feel bad for Kieran and the rebellion, and I feel bad for Nez because like her parents are just not the greatest parents in the world.
No.
But this was the tragic part for me. I cried because I was like, I mean, I should have expected that she killed more people than we've seen, but it's just sad.
It's very sad. And I told Andrew, I was like, damn, I mean, they could have put the bones somewhere else, but sure. I guess they didn't think, no one's alive that knows they're there, so why not? But
well, did their family, like, do they not keep in contact with their families?
I guess
like,
not.
did their family even know that they're dead? Like, it just kills me.
I don't know. I don't have any idea, but it was a lot. I mean, that was what? How many would you say that was?
Oh God, like at 20?
Yeah, it was about 20. Because I was going to say like somewhere between 16 and 20.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, and you asked me if I thought that that Valya could be if she could be redeemed. I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying that she has to be. You can make her worse. I really like her, but I was still very sad over this.
Yeah, I don't think she has any redemption. Valya is back at the Harkonnen apartment. She meets with Francesca and Theodosia, and that's where they find out that about the shapeshifter face dancing capability.
Oh, I was right
Which,
about that too. I was right
yes,
about
you
that
were.
too.
You were. So,
Because they said that I can't say the word, but they said the word. Like I'll just say skin dancer because that's what she is. But she was created, and I feel for Theo because she's being used heavily in this, but she's accepted it, so it is what it is.
yeah, it is. But, like, so what is the deal? Theodosia is a face dancer, but she was bred to be that? Is she a genetic experiment?
Yes, that's what a lot of them are. They're genetic experiments, I think.
Okay, so that's why they can't reproduce because they're
They,
an experiment.
yes, they were created for. And again, like it does say that they are usually used as spies and assassins. So I was really confused why they used her for this because they didn't kill anybody.
No. And I guess I don't know. I don't know if that was a long-term plan of Valia's or something she just came up with. But I mean, we knew it was going to come into play, but I'm like you. I'm surprised that she didn't get her to like turn into Desmond and do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, I guess it makes sense to use her for Nez, but like it was so confusing because then she changes into something else, and it really doesn't do anything.
No. That one that baffled me a bit. I'm
And
not
now
really
she's
sure.
arrested, so it's
It's okay. You have a shapeshifter. There's a lot of things that you can do with a shapeshifter. It was an odd decision because what we see is so Valia obviously wants to rescue Nez. So Theo turns into Nez to give them time to get away. Yeah, I get that, but to me, it almost made it would have made more sense to have Theo turn into Javicco and say let her go or so. You know what I mean? Like I'm just kind of surprised by the choices. I don't know.
and I had a hard time. So that is why I would have given it a 10, but so like it's that and the guards were confusing. Like
Oh
all the
my
guards were confusing
god.
because they were one minute they seem to be on one side and then the other side, then they're on the other side. They were so confusing to me this whole episode. I was like, I don't understand what's going on here.
Look, the guards come after them and it happens really fast. And then Valia tells if she uses the voice and says defend me, then that guard is gonna defend her. But like all this is happening in like seconds, you have to understand. And so you're just like, what? Huh? And so okay, so I thought that Theo was gonna remain as Nez, so nobody would be looking for her. And I was wrong. Again,
I
wrong.
I do like that scene though, even though it's weird. Like I do like when she pretends to be that guard on the floor.
Oh yeah, no, explain that. It's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, she shapeshifts into she gets this idea. She doesn't say it obviously because there's nobody else in the room to talk to, but like it's obvious she's going to change into him, and so she does. And he's laying there when Desmond gets in there because everybody's gone, and he's talking to Desmond. He's trying to say something to him, and Desmond's like, I was like, don't get too close to him because something's going to happen here.
I was waiting on it.
I know. And then what I like what she says as this guard, she says to him, Mother Superior has a message or whatever, Sisterhood above all, and then she stabs him.
I was like, damn. And she stabs him in the abdomen. It's not light.
It's a good spot, but one punch and she's out, and I'm like, God damn it.
Well, at least she's not dead though.
No, I know, and I'm glad she's not dead. I also didn't like that he called her a monster. I love Desmond, but those choice of words just pissed me off just because I'm like, she's not. And you, sir, are an experiment, so excuse you.
Well, here you go. Do you know what I think? I think he called her a monster because it's projection of self-hate because he knows what he is.
That's true.
That's what I really think.
And that makes me feel bad for him, but at the same time, I just didn't like. It's just like, when Jon Snow calls the dragons beast, like it just, I don't like that.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about that gorgeous beast. I got your gorgeous beast. Stay tuned for that. No, stay tuned for that, everybody. Just know that'll come back later.
I can't help it but compare it to Game of Thrones.
Gorgeous beast. Yeah, and you ride Rhaegal like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Bitter. Valya tells Francesca that she's going to have to off her boyfriend. Javicco's got to go, and gives her this very large box. I was like, that's not obvious at all. That contains what would you call that? Like a poison tip stick?
Yeah. Oh well, needle. Poison tip. Yeah, it looked like a needle, like a large needle. Big
needle. Big giant needle with poison. And you can tell she doesn't want to.
I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew she wasn't going to kill Javicco.
I knew it too. So, okay. Valya wants to get arrested, so she goes and sits on the throne and...
After this scene so much.
Whoo! You go ahead on that, because she ripped him a new asshole.
I just thought it was funny that she was, well, first of all, the fact that she had the audacity to sit on the throne, but at the same time, it makes sense because she made this happen. She got them married, they had a child, and that child is their future, so it makes sense. But he's asking her for help. Javicco's asking her for help because, hey, they're making me a puppet. And I'm like, but you're a puppet. Everybody's holding your strings right now.
Yeah.
And she calls him a weak man. I loved that because he is. You've always needed someone else to hold the strings. We made this for you. You were just an assignment. You don't matter. We want Nez. That's it. He doesn't matter, which is very sad. I felt so bad for him, but it's true.
And he knows she's telling the truth.
I feel for him, though. Like, that's the scene where, that and the ending scene with him, that is the two scenes I really felt bad for him. He is weak. He is a puppet. But I just thought it was funny how he's asking for her for help. And Desmond was right this whole time.
Yep. But the fact that he's asking her for help proves everything she's saying. You got to go to somebody. You can't do anything on your own. You can't make your own decisions, and it's like, damn. Yeah. And the look on his face is great acting. It was like he was thinking of his entire life at that moment and all the big things that ever happened in his life and how he was never in control of any of it.
Oh, I mean, when he was talking to Natalya and telling her you can't do this, you have to talk to me about decisions like this with their daughter being arrested and stuff. And she's like, "Oh, really? Well, you said you're going to send me away, so you don't even have a backbone to tell me that. You had to have somebody tell me that."
Yep.
He is pathetic. He is, but it's sad.
He
Still.
was genetically predispositioned to be easily manipulated, so they cultivated that, and it worked perfectly. And he knows it. And the thing that's super devastating is, I think the thing that hurt him the worst was Francesca. So he finds that out. He goes to his quarters where she is, and he just looks like angry and broken. And she can tell by the look on his face. She's like, yeah, so Valya told you. And he's like, so what now? You're supposed to kill me? So she takes out the needle and sets it down, and she says, that's Valya's plan. And she says that more than once. So at first I was like, is she just trying to make it seem like that to get close to him? I don't think so.
No, she loves him.
Yeah, I don't think she would have killed him. Because
She's loved him. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't think she would have killed him, because when he stabs himself, like, she freaks out.
Yeah, and I have a feeling she's been in love with him since she saw his picture on the thinking machine. So I don't think she ever wanted to hurt him, because I know she makes a point about Constantine a lot in this episode, but it's not just Constantine. Like, she really cares about him.
She does. And I kind of figure if Francesca had to kill him, I figure Francesca probably would have killed herself after.
Yeah.
I don't think she could have lived with herself. But I did not expect what happened. I did not.
I didn't either.
All right, we got Francesca freaking out and just like holding him and saying, stay with me, Javicco, stay with me. And she's just devastated. And then you see the needle at her neck, and you're like, who's doing that? It's Natalya. It's our own space Cersei, basically.
How'd she know what... I mean, I guess a needle could kill anybody, even if it wasn't poison. But was she in the room the whole time and just listening in? Like,
had to be. She had to be hiding in his quarters and heard all that. So, but he must have seen her.
He had to have.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, well, think about that. So, Javicco's dying. Like, Francesca has her back to the door, but he's on the ground. Natalya comes up behind her and stabs her with the poison needle. My question is this: did Javicco see her walking up with that needle and not warn Francesca?
I think so.
There you go.
But I mean, grabs for her skirt and stuff. Natalya's, her dress. I mean,
tell me that's not giving Cersei. Tell me that ain't giving Cersei.
Oh, it is, because she just walks away.
Yeah.
I mean, well, first she brushes his, like, she takes the dress out of his hand. That really hurt me. I was like, this, I mean, but it's interesting.
Oh, yeah, she's savage, because he reaches for her dress like he's dying. You know, this is his last 30 seconds, and she pulls her dress back like, nah. Mm-mm.
But what are they going to do now? Because the Emperor is dead. I mean, yeah, she screams afterwards that the Emperor is dead, but who's going to rule then? Her? Like, are people really going to listen to her?
No, and I don't know if she's delusional or what. Because it doesn't make sense. I mean, I know she wanted revenge on Francesca. It makes sense she killed Francesca. But I guess since Javicco killed himself, I mean, she didn't really have a choice on that one. So does she think that she is going to be able to, like, rule through Nez? Nez is too strong-willed.
She can't control Nez. And Nez is gone now, so there's no way.
No, I don't even know what she thinks her plan is. But of course, I don't know exactly how politics rule there. I don't know since he's dead, I don't know if she has power or not.
And I don't think Constantine can be an emperor, because he doesn't have a stake in the claim. So, I
don't know. Unless it's one of those moments like we're going end of Game of Thrones when Cersei just takes the throne and it doesn't really make sense.
Could go that way. I hope not. But you know how I said I thought maybe Constantine was cared about by Natalya? Well, the fact that she just killed his mom, I don't think she cares.
Nah. The only thing is she might fake care to manipulate him for some reason. That's about it. I don't think
Yeah.
Natalya cares about anybody but Natalya.
Yeah, I don't even think she cares about Desmond either. I think she just likes that he could do what she wants, but that's about it.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting?
Hmm.
So maybe their whole genetic manipulation thing isn't perfect because I don't think they predicted for Natalya to be that power hungry.
No.
Mm, there you go. Okay.
Another plan going to shit.
Oh yeah, total shit.
Did you want to talk about quickly when Mother Dorotea goes down um to the thinking machine? I was
Yes.
upset with this scene because she just takes one whack at it and it's down. I have that machine's been there forever and it's huge.
It was a bit odd. They go down there. I know what she's doing. Like the other sisters are like baffled because they didn't even know it was there. And just, she takes, is it the same thing she had before? The same
Yeah,
space
so she was, yeah,
wrench?
yep.
She just hits one thing and then it's out.
I just don't see how that's possible because I mean, I guess because this thinking machine is only just for, its only purpose is for what it does, but I still feel like one hit would knock the whole thing out.
I guess we're supposed to assume that that is the CPU. I,
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess. How would she even know that though?
Maybe she didn't know and she just wanted to hit something because she doesn't like this abomination.
Well, maybe she hit that and it just took the power out and she assumes that the machine is dead and it's not.
Yeah.
We'll know in 3 years, don't worry. And I'm not even kidding. Um,
Well, the Batman's pushed till 2027, so, anything's possible.
uh,
Yep. Well, they don't have a working script yet, so it's like, well, what have you been doing for 2 years?
well, I mean, Night of the Seven Kingdoms got pushed back
Yeah.
months, which also means that House of the Dragon's probably going to get pushed back as well.
At
It's
least,
just frustrating.
at least I know they're filming. They're going to start filming in, apparently less than a couple of weeks, so that's good.
That is good. I just don't understand why Night of the Seven Kingdoms got pushed back and why they're not consistently filming without stop because Egg is going to grow so fast.
He's going to be a teen. Yes, kids. I always say kids grow faster than normal kids, like actor kids.
Yeah, and I told you in season 2, he's not going to be Egg, he'll be a chicken. We have a showdown between Valya and Desmond, which is
Can I
what we've
just say,
been waiting on.
well, yeah, that was awesome, and I was excited for it. But the before she gets to Desmond, all that fighting she does is so cool. She doesn't even do much, but it's. I just wanted to say that. I
Oh
forgot to say that when
yeah.
you mentioned her with the guards. I forgot to say that before.
Oh yeah, talk about that cuz like she barely moves. Like it's
She bar-
badass.
it's badass. Well, she's a Bene Gesserit, and they know how to fight anyway. They're trained, but she doesn't have to move much. She just walks through, uses the voice a few times, and stabs them with the sword, cuts a throat. Cuts a couple throats. It's just really cool visually.
Yeah, it's like one of those really cool cinematic views where like one person is putting in low effort but doing something really big.
And for this to be the Sardaukar, it's kind of interesting. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
assuming that's what they're going to be. But and then Nez and Kieran, they move a lot, but they do a lot of damage to them too. I just thought that was cool.
She moves through kind of like in The Mandalorian when you have Luke show up and he just like wipes out like everybody and doesn't break a sweat. It was like that. Like it's like, oh wow, man, she's strong. because she
I
knows
could use that.
exactly where to stab somebody, and then like if she can't stab them, then she says, "Defend me."
I could use that example with also with Joel, or excuse me, Pedro Pascal's Joel in The Last of Us. He kills an entire hospital of people. Like he goes and just kills everybody. I mean, he does that in the game too. So it's just like that. He doesn't even break a sweat.
And all those scenes have in common somebody that has like reached a point where like fear and anxiety, like they're not even there anymore. It's like there's probably a name for that. It's like a classic thing, and it always looks cool.
Oh
Always.
yeah.
So not even breaking a sweat, nothing. The defend me, that was my favorite part though, because then like
Oh.
that soldier immediately turns and starts fighting another soldier. I was like, geez, I need the
Oh.
voice.
We could also, use that with Anatar. Anatar controlled people to do that too. Like that was interesting
Yep.
because when the guards came in to
Yep.
arrest him, and he used his magic to powers to kill them.
Yeah, he had them pull a sword on each other,
Yeah,
all in a circle, which was pretty cool.
that's still my favorite scene of that entire show. It's just so
Man,
cool.
that was incredible. Well, that whole scene, like all the scenes with him like using his magic and what he could do, so interesting. We love magic though. We do.
Yeah,
That's why we don't like maesters.
goddamn maesters.
Yeah. Valya finally gets to Desmond, and that there's so much to this. And Desmond's injured, so Travis Fimmel acted the hell out of this without saying much. I always say I never really appreciated silent acting until Andrea brought it to my attention, and now I notice it.
Jon
And,
Snow in King's Landing.
I mean, until she pointed it out, I didn't appreciate it. That made me appreciate this scene because you have Travis Fimmel as Desmond. So what is he doing? He's injured horribly, so he's in pain. He sees Valya, which that's his target. That is the target of his hate. And at the same time, he's also being manipulated by a virus created by someone, and it's like a machine that's also forcing him to hate her. It's just a lot. And he does it very, very well. Like he's wincing in pain, but he's looking at her like she's the devil. It's just very layered and very cool. And Travis is great. I love Travis.
And I was yelling, I'm like, you're going to really kill your aunt? That's your aunt.
Yeah, it was just like, oh my God.
Basically, she gets knocked. So Valya gets knocked out, and so does Desmond. They both fall to the ground. Well, he falls first, I think, and then she falls because it looked like he was using his power on her. But she was like, I want to see what you see. I need to see.
Yep.
And so I think he was like saying, yeah, but I'm going to try and kill you at the same time. I don't know what he was trying to do, to be honest. I think he was trying to kill her too at the same time, right?
I don't know. And I don't think we're meant to know yet.
No, we're
I don't
not.
think
So
we're meant to know. Like, okay, I might be looking way too deep into this. I don't think we're meant to know how much of what we've seen is Desmond Hart and how much of it is the virus.
Yeah, I was wondering how much of this is him and how much of it's yeah.
Because they keep saying over and over again, did you notice, like, Tula especially is like, this wasn't his fault. He's being controlled. Like, we're given that more than one time. So now we're starting to question, okay, how much of this is Desmond? We don't know. So.
Yeah. Okay, so they're both on the ground, and Tula comes in. She's already landed. She saw, she goes up to Valya, And Valya is already like in this like she's on Arrakis, what it looks like Arrakis, but it's different because it's all sand, but it's dark-ish, you
Yeah.
know. And she sees, or well, she hears her name being called, and it's Griffin, and we get to see like, you know, where the part of the planet that she was from, and we get to see like the water and the ice, and she tells him to swim, you know, in her voice. That was really cool. And then she gets to save him, Griffin, but it seemed like a loving scene, and then at some point it's not, because he blames her for everything. He says, everything is your fault. Everything that's happened is your fault. And that was, I kind of felt for her there, you know, because her brother, the one she loves, is telling her that it's you're a monster, basically.
Yep.
And
It's the scene where she first uses the voice, just in case anybody didn't like catch that part. So that's like, it's like, I guess the most painful memory, I guess, that she has. So that's why it brings it out, I would assume.
yeah, but I mean, I feel like her brother would have never said that to her. So
No.
that's why I felt bad for her.
From what I understand, I think the virus, since it feeds off fear, it's gonna somehow probe your brain and manipulate something into trying to make you just be in complete fear and despair, I guess.
Yeah, because Tula's talking to her and telling her, "Hey, let go of your fears," and that's, you know, he continues to say things to her, and then she's like, "I see the worm," because the worm comes through the sand, and she says, Tula tells her to let the worm come. So it's a very good acting scene from Valya and Tula.
Okay, so inside Valia's head, she lets her fear go and lets the worm, eat her. Okay, that's the scene we saw Javicco watch that actually happened to Desmond.
Yeah.
So I'm real confused about that. How is Desmond alive if he actually did get eaten by the worm?
And how did he get taken to this place where there's a machine above him taking his eye out and stamping it with a virus?
There you go. And talk about that machine because it's cool.
He's skinnier than I expected, but he's talking, and I wish we could hear what he's saying, because I'm like, I want to, like, give me something. Give us like a subtitle that says what he's saying. There's nothing. I have no idea what he's saying, but he's talking. You know he's talking.
Yeah.
Maybe he's talking science. Maybe he's not saying anything important. I would say he was communicating with the person, or either communicating with Desmond or trying to communicate with Desmond, or he was communicating with the person that's watching.
Yep. And the
But
person
he's
that's
cute.
watching we're obviously supposed to notice that there's a shadowy figure watching.
Was that the they that Nazir was talking about, do you think?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I think we're right. I think the hooded figure, I think it's supposed to make people think it's a sister wearing a veil. When in reality, I think it's Orry Atreides wearing one of Daemon Targaryen's murder hoodies. That's what I
Yes.
think. I mean, I don't know, and we'll find out in 16 years, but I think that's Vorian. Because we looked it up, and Vorian's like part cyborg. So who better to have a thinking machine kind of make another one, I guess?
That was wild, seeing Desmond eye get taken out though. That was kind of wild. And then have the eye look at him. So like looking at himself. Like, I feel bad for Desmond, I really do. That was awful.
If you're a fan of Star Trek The Next Generation, when Captain Picard gets kidnapped by the Borg, the creepiest scene is when there's this needle coming towards Captain Picard's eye, and it gets almost to the eye and it cuts, because all Borg have a cybernetic implant in one eye. Okay, if that was hard to watch, this is like 18 times that, because the thinking machine pulls out his eyeball and it's still attached, and he puts the, I would guess, cybernetic implants into the actual eyeball that's still attached, and then puts it back in his head. Yeah. Yeah. It was a
Yeah.
lot. And you hear him in awful pain while all that's happening. So it's like, man, y'all could have gave him a nerve block or something, but okay. All right then. So there's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So
Can you hear me? Just making
yes.
sure.
Yeah, I can
Because
hear
my
you.
internet went out for like a second, so it's back, but I just want to make sure.
No, you're fine. Okay, so we go through all that. Okay, I will tell you this. Tula embraces Desmond, and I was tense because I truly thought Desmond was going to stab her.
I did too, but the fact that he like rubs her back and everything, like that just, and then he arrests her. Oh,
Yeah, it was emotional. I was stressed because I thought he was gonna like, rub her back and be like, "This is my mom," and then stab her, and I was gonna be like, "Damn it!" But he does not stab her. He has her arrested, which is very telling. He could have
yes.
killed
Oh,
her. He could have activated the virus in her too, Andrea.
that's true. Maybe he did.
He didn't. He didn't put Tula through what he put Valya through. He
True.
never
He didn't.
he never activates the virus in Tula. And earlier in the episode, Tula says, "I had the nightmare too." That's why we're told that earlier in the episode. So we know he could have done that to Tula. He didn't.
Uh-huh.
So that's what makes me wonder how much of that is Desmond and how much of that is virus / cyborg / whatever.
I think that's Desmond. I think that scene is Desmond.
I agree.
Okay, but I have to say, hearing Tula use the voice on Valya was awesome and such a mother thing to do because hello, you're not going to touch my son. And then I like how she tells her, "Hey, that's my son," and Valya's just like, "Wait, I thought he was dead." Nope. No, he's not dead. She kept that away because I couldn't give you him. And it's basically protection from you. Because she's like, protection from whom? From you.
What's crazy about that is, and it's such a short scene, but at first you think Tula is saying, "Yeah, I protected my son from you." And you're thinking, yeah, because Tula's the good one. But Tula says, "No, we're the same." And the thing is, yeah, two wolves. So Tula's basically saying, "I protected my son from us."
Yes.
I was like, okay, so this whole time we thought Tula was, we got good cop, bad cop. We got bad cop, bad cop. It's very complicated, very. But Tula sent him away, and Valya wouldn't have. So Tula, it does have more heart than Valya. I mean, hell, anybody does. But it was just so much in that short scene. You're right, and the fact that the voice works on Valya is trippy too.
Yeah, because she's the one that started it. So it's like, what? So maybe Tula is a little bit stronger than Valya.
Tula may be the only one that can use the voice on Valya. What do you think they're going to do?
Yeah, she says this is the start of something. And I'm like, start of what? Like, the start of another plan? Is this another plan that was this plan like T?
Because I don't know. Because, I mean, we have Tula, obviously distracting Desmond. And then Valya, Kira, and Nez, they go to Arrakis. They get off the ship. And Valya says something about, like, there's a player on the board that hasn't revealed himself. And, they're just going to go trek through Arrakis with no water, I guess. I don't know.
Well, there is they have a hideout house somewhere, so I guess we'll go there, but I don't know what they're going to do after that.
I don't know either, but you're right. And I think that's the reason we were told in a previous episode that they did have a house is because of that. I think that's why.
the thing is with Nez, Valya can't control her.
Nope.
So I don't know what's going to happen there.
Well, I mean, basically, Valya says their path to the enemy begins and then it ends. And it's just, that's such a huge cliffhanger. There was so much information. Look, acting great, costumes great, the CGI is great, all of it's great, the story is great. It was just so much. It was an hour and a half. If you have to make your episode 30 minutes longer, that should tell you everything you need to know. This should have been 8 to 10 to 12 episodes, so I gotta knock off points for that. Just for the headache alone, I gotta dip it to 8.5 because HBO has got to realize that we want more. Don't just shove it into the final episode. Don't shave off episodes. Like, we enjoy this. This is a good show. But
I mean,
if they want new people to watch it, they got to give more time to digest all of this.
well, and I know that they left a huge cliffhanger and there's a lot of questions, but they got to give us something to like think about until the next season. So I'm fine with cliffhangers.
Cliffhanger's fine. It was just, there was just so much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And I'm just greedy. I just wanted somebody to say something about Orry and Atreides before it ended. That's just me being greedy.
But I'm sure they're going to mention him again. There has to be, or we're going to see him. I mean,
That's
because
him. That's
it's
gotta be
him.
him.
I don't know who else it could be.
It's him.
So I'm curious how that's going to go. But I give it an 8.5 too, just because I had issues with some stuff. It was a good episode. I just didn't like that. I didn't like the word monster used. I know why he said it. I just didn't like it. But that's not why I gave it 8.5. I gave it an 8.5 because there was some confusing parts to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. At the end of that, I did have a headache after watching it from, like so much happening and trying to focus on it, and then also being like, oh my God, what is this? Oh my God, why? There's just a lot that could have been explained more. It's just
But
really good. Part of it's frustration because, like, I really feel like more people would be watching it if they knew about it, and also if it had a bit slower pace so people could absorb it.
yeah, I don't think they want new viewers, so it is what it is.
I don't think they do either. That's something me and Andrea talked about. I think they're just betting on current Dune fans to watch it, and why you wouldn't want to tap into a huge group of people that enjoy similar shows, I don't know. But there wasn't really any marketing on TikTok at all, which really surprised us.
Yeah.
It would have been easy to bring people in. I mean, they hired actors from other shows that we like. It's similar to other shows we like, but who knows? Maybe it'll be different with season 2.
It is what it is.
Well, I'm glad we watched it. It's a very interesting universe. And in an alternate timeline where my brain isn't already filled with A Song of Ice and Fire, I could see myself really getting into Dune and learning a lot of stuff, but like my brain doesn't have the space. It's maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
mean, like, I want to know basic stuff and I want to keep watching it, but like, I can't like get into the obsessive, point. I can't do that. But I could see why a lot of people do.
Yep.
All right. So thank you all for coming on this spice journey with us. This was very fun. And as far as what we're going to cover next, that's a big surprise. So make sure you follow us on social media.
Follow your favorite podcasters on all social media at Southern Mother of Dragons and at the Princess of Dragonstone.
Because you're not going to want to miss out our next, what should we call it, journey.
Journey.
Yeah, we're not even going to give you a clue. Thank you for
Nope.
listening. We love
Bye.
you.
As always, it's Amanda here to say thank you to all of our listeners and to ask that if you liked this week's episode, leave us an honest rating. And if you'd like to continue the discussion, please feel free to comment on our post over at our Girls Nerd Out podcast account on Instagram. If you're interested in buying any of our merch to support the podcast and so that we can continue to release weekly episodes, then check it out over at girlsnerdoutpodcast.com. Our podcast logo was designed by Chairman Bilal over on Fiverr. Our podcast merch was put together by me, myself, and I at Southern Mother of Dragons on all social media. If you're interested in my personal merch, check it out at southernmotherofdragons.com, and the designs for that merch were put together by Ryuchi Studios on Etsy after an in-depth back-and-forth discussion with me to find the perfect merch for me and my loyal supporters. The music played while I tell you about all the ways you can support us and the production of the podcast is Kawaii Girl by Pumpkin Pie. Thanks for listening.
Hey, this is Andrea.
And this is Amanda.
And you just listened to
Girls Nerd Out.